Previously on Chat 62.
Sure, we weren't that close with headquarters company. I mean, like they were down there, and I did something obviously that wooed him enough that he thought like this. He basically said I called me like a hot shit Marine worth a second chance.
Yeah.
And so he knew I had like a little fire in me, and I made a mistake, and I was ready to remedy that mistake and not let it define me. And that's kind of what I spent the rest of the Corps doing.
Real quick before we start, we've streamlined our contact info. From now on, if you have any questions, feedback, or ideas for future guests, just shoot us an email at chat62podcast@gmail.com. That's chat62podcast@gmail.com. All right, let's fucking go. Do you have any La Tiendita stories for us?
Man, I think we all went there quite often. We even would go. I think the first time I ever went there was like it might have been at CEB. We went and bought, I went with somebody.
Yeah, I didn't drive then, so it wasn't me. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It must have been Brooks.
It must have been Brooks or remember Galbraith or something?
Oh, yeah.
Galbraith, yeah.
Jim
It was
Galbraith.
back in the day, and I just kind of went along for the ride, and we went there and got 10 pounds of carne asada, just the meat, and we came back and we're making our own tacos at the place or at the barracks, or it was a barbecue thing. That's my earliest memory of there, and I don't know why it's Galbraith. It might have been riding along. Yeah, I don't know. So that was my first experience there. And see, again, I'm like a little white kid from Northern California. Our ideas of what I knew of a burrito was bean and cheese, Taco Bell equivalent. So that was game changer for me. I mean, now it's all I eat, and I can't find anything that will compare to that up here. But yeah, man, we ate that place at least once a week, I think, for 4 years, maybe longer.
Dang, dude.
It's not there anymore, is it?
No, it's not. It's still there. I mean, it still says there's a picture of the sign that says La Tiendita and stuff, but it's just there.
Yeah,
it's closed.
It shut down. I would have thought. I was surprised when Almanza and I went in back in December. We were driving through Camp Pendleton and we're coming back up, and we just drove by just to see just to see what was there. Now, I'm really surprised to see the wall still had the writing La Tiendita. The building is there. It's just closed. It's been that way since what year? 2019.
2019.
Man.
But you could still smell the good times,
Right, man. Man, it's driving me crazy because I can remember walking in there and it was the glass cases, and I was just thinking, this place looks like a dump, dude. We're gonna eat here? They just got cases of funky looking meat, and then I was changed. Yeah, that's by far my favorite food now, Mexican food. But it's all because of it started with that. Then it went into Roberto's and all the other good stuff that Southern California had to offer for Mexican food. But
El Torito? Yeah. El Torito? No.
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 Some other generic one. No. Yeah, lots of pizza, man. That's wasn't it Mamas or something they called it? Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of us called it Mamas. A lot of us called it La Tiendita. I knew it by Mamas. I think Almanza knew it by La Tiendita. Well, I just knew it as Mamas.
What does La Tiendita mean?
The market?
The market, yeah.
The little store?
Okay.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did Mamas come from, man?
I don't know. I mean, we thought it was the name of a burrito. I thought it was the name of the place until I actually saw the words La Tiendita. I'm like, oh shit. This whole time I thought it was Mamas. Guess not.
Yeah.
So good times at La Tiendita. Could you share a memorable time in service that had a significant impact on you? Time or times?
Time or times that had a significant impact on me. Aside from everybody's initial time that you remember, as corny and as cheesy as it sounds, when you first get up to the top of the Reaper after the Crucible and boot camp, and you're having that whole moment up there where you kind of feel like they're looking at you like a Marine for the first time, and they give you their little Eagle Globe and Anchor and playing the I'm proud to be an American. That was a pretty rad moment right there. You're little sleep deprived, so you're kind of hallucinating a little. You haven't really eaten enough, so your whole blood sugar's all fucked up, and you're an emotional wreck. Yeah. And then they throw that in there. You hadn't seen your mom. It was Halloween when I became a Marine. like that morning of Halloween. And so I remember just thinking like, this is so fucking cool because I'm going to remember this every Halloween for the rest of my life. I'm going to not think, ooh, it's Halloween, trick or treat. I'm going to think, I'm proud to be in America. That's like, it's kind of rad. And yeah, that was like probably one of the better moments I ever had in the Corps, I guess. There's other cool ones, but like, you know, I
That
don't
was
know, they
easy.
all just kind of blur together. Hard to put any like, you know, one anything above the other. But, you know, I thought like, so after all the bullshit I went through with like the Brig and all the crap, you know, the restriction, the extra duty, losing my rank, you know, like a joke, I got promoted more times than a lot of people because I made it all the way up, you know, Lance Corporal, back to private, and then back to Lance Corporal again. So 6 promotions or whatever in my little 4 years. But when I got to go on that meritorious board there towards the end of my enlistment, like that was a pretty cool moment because even though I didn't win or even really do that well, like I kind of felt like I was, you know, there was a lot of people in our unit and I got to go do it. It was like me and 2 other guys. And of course I didn't win, they did, but the fact that I got to go do it and they thought highly enough of me that like that was a pretty cool moment. I mean, I even keep the little paper of nomination of Lance Corporal Lyndon Walker, USMC from Meritorious Corporal Board. You know, like it's kind of cool to read the stuff. Demonstrates exceptional performance and leadership abilities and is enthusiastically recommended for Meritorious Corporal Board.
That's cool.
You know, so it was kind of like at that point, like, I don't know, like I still like, I guess that's when you're finally were good at your job. Like, you know, for a long time, we were always in transition for like the first couple of years. Like I was like, when we got to CEB, we were kind of like learning the job, which was nothing like I had learned in PA school. And so like by the time I started figuring out my role there, kind of, we consolidated with 5th Marines and I was always on working parties or, you know, guard duty or, you know, other shit. So once got through all the madness of initial, you know, military fleet experience, Brig, restriction. I'd gone through a lot at that point. So like to finally, that was kind of like my pinnacle. Like even though I didn't get meritorious like promoted, like the fact that I was recommended for it was like cool. I finally like made it back. And it's also depressing because you're thinking like, what if I had like not been a fuck up early on?
Yeah.
I could have been like fucking, oh man, now I can't remember his name. And it was coming to me earlier. Remember that guy who got like Sergeant
Wallace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Like
so
fucking
yeah.
Wallace.
Yeah, right.
That guy was but he was so nice too, though. It's like he,
But those are significant moments, you know. Those are moments that give people some sort of hope, especially maybe, you know, for someone who's listening that maybe feels that, you know, hey, you know, during my time I went through that same component, or someone that might be listening that's going through it now, you know, and it's like, wait, there could be hope, you know. And it was good that people were fighting for you too, you know,
yeah,
off the bat, you know, because it's like you were just going to
dude.
go with the punches. Whatever came, you were going to go. You know, you had no choice. But you know, like you said, First Sergeant Fletcher already had spoken up for you even before, you know, he had spoken up for you. You know,
He
so
was
it's
like
like,
crazy guy. Remember that guy? He's like
He was
super
tall.
tall, and he had
Yeah,
that
he's
yeah,
so
yeah,
Louisiana,
that real
Nolans.
exactly
Yeah.
loud, and real like you know he was real authoritative and like
Yeah.
had a man to him. And I didn't like. I remember when I got in trouble, having to like go to his office several times and see the CO, and it sucked. But like you know, the fact that he saw something in me, yeah. Oh God, I mean, I wish I could thank him to this day because like you know, I remember before like I went to my court martial, laying in my barracks room, thinking like, fuck it all, you know, like this shit's stupid, you know, I just want to like dye my hair, I want to like pierce my nipples, like I don't want to shave or cut, you know, I wasn't wrong, you know, because I was confused and having my feelings, but like life would have been so different if I would have followed those feelings, you know, like
Yeah.
I have a buddy who didn't make it through his enlistment. He unfortunately liked it, you know, he got dishonorably discharged for like drugs. And, you know, still to this day, he like regrets it and talks about it. And I'm very grateful that I got to like go back, finish in a good way and experience what I did. And, you know, really we were in during some interesting times. Like 9/11 was huge
Yeah.
and it changed the whole tone of the military. So, and we got to experience some really cool stuff. And like the fact that I can say I did that and the highs and the lows, and I came out and I got these stories to tell, like that's great. But if I would have not done it, like, God, you know, the benefits that you get from being, you know, serving like we did, it's like amazing. And if I could tell anybody, like, I'm just thinking about it with my kids, my little girls. They're so beautiful and awesome and cute and fragile. And I'm thinking, like, shit, I hope they want to join the military. You know, the benefits are so great. I really think everybody should have to like go spend at least 2 years in the service, get some good benefits that'll help you when, you know, you wouldn't even know it, or, you know you needed it. And there it is to help you. Like, it was the best thing I ever did in my life, other than that, make babies and stuff.
Did you feel like at the end that there was a redemption for you? I mean, I know you didn't win the meritorious board, but did you feel redemption at the end of that enlistment, in spite of everything that happened?
Even though we all kind of got a plaque, it was kind of cool that like it was a cool moment. Like I had to, you know, I had really, it all started to click, you know, and like I felt like even though I didn't become an NCO, like I still feel like I was, you know, like I feel like I made it there anyway. Even though I didn't win that board and get it then, it was still like, I felt like they were the senior Marines, our senior Marines were kind of seeing me as a senior Marine, not derelict fucking guy who like's been demoted several times.
1999 Walker, right?
Yeah, I was being respected as a guy who had done 4+ years, learned his job, was a good Marine, a good teammate, a good brother, and was able to walk out those gates with my head high with all my stuff. And
down that tomato patch. No.
Yeah, saying bye to that fucking tomato patch. God, we ran through so much. Yeah, so that was awesome. It was awesome. It was hard. I mean, I still remember like the last 2 days, like at Pendleton or San Mateo, like driving away that final time, you know, you always leave places thinking like, I'll be back. It'll be cool. I'll come see it again. But like when I left there, I kind of knew I was not going to see it again for a long time. And I drove down to San Diego like 11 or 12 years ago. I drove down the 101 past Pendleton and just like where the, you know, the nuclear plant is and seeing all that shit again, that brought back so much. But I would really love to go and just do what you all did. Just have like one good walk around that place and see how it's changed. And just I've probably walked every fucking inch of that 62 area, you know, like we all have. Like so much stuff was done there that it'd be fun to go kind of just feel it one more time.
If we do, I would like to find some pictures that I have and sort of like hold it up sort of in the spot where it was, where we took them, you know, sort of.
Kind of like a Nickelback video. Look at this photograph.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And, I mean, yeah, it'll be cool. Or just, you know, I mean, yeah, it was a fun little trip. And then seeing where we were, the smell still smelled the same. You know, it was like swampy-ish, swamp.
What's it smell like, Amanta?
Like shit. It was like swamp. It was swamp. Like a swampy,
sweaty swamp ass. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there was some changes, definite changes, but it's still
a lot of changes.
I mean, it was home. It was home. And like Eric was right. There was the sense of like people just looking at us. I felt like, wow, like I've done this before, you know, like it felt cool and all this other stuff. And I enjoyed it. But yeah, people would look at us sort of like, look at them. And we forget it. We look how we look. You know, we have beards now. You know, we're not clean shaven. We're not in uniform.
Walking around a little bit slower.
Yeah. We never really paid much attention to like unless they were females. Other than that,
yeah,
they just
was like her.
Yeah, moving forward after your first 12 months after getting out of the Corps, you went back up north. You were married. You had a kid. What was Lyndon thinking at that time?
Oh, Lyndon was cocky and full of himself and kind of a mess. Like so when I first got out, I came back here, and my wife and daughter at the time went to Paradise or Chico, where they were from, and I came over here to kind of get us established. And they followed about a month later. Yeah, it took me a little while to get going. So like I was pretty lucky. My mom worked for this hospital for a long time here locally, and she knew upper management, actually the owners of the hospital. So they had a job waiting for me. I so as soon as I got out of the Marine Corps, I took a couple weeks, kind of got situated. I was staying with a friend, and then I found a place, and then I started working for this hospital. And so it was kind of cool, but it really like I kind of struggled transitioning into the civilian world, really. Um, I can't really recall like exactly why I had so much trouble with it, but I ended up losing. Yeah, I was like the main reason I got divorced is I kind of got out of the Marine Corps, but I don't think I ever fully got out of it, and was kind of dealing with like the new, like the pain, dealing with back problems at a young age, getting out of the Corps. So I don't drink alcohol or anything anymore, but that was like kind of what I ended up doing.
Mm.
So like when I first got out and like I was dealing with like the back problems and stuff, that the answer was narcotics, like hey, Vicodin. And that's what the VA gave me.
Painkillers.
Prescription Vicodin painkillers. I would get these big ass bottles of them every month. And that's like right when I got out. So I'm kind of like taking those and drinking, and it was kind of a mess. I was mad at the military kind of at the same time. But, like it was like a weird, nasty breakup. Like I couldn't really be with her anymore, but I'm mad that, she did what she did to me. But anyway, so, it took me several months to like acclimate into the civilian world, and in the process kind of like I also like back to when we were so busy and I wasn't with my significant other, my wife at the time. We were like not together as much because I was always gone with the Marines, or so this was the first time we were actually living together, and here I am kind of transitioning in the civilian world and figuring out who I am and who the new Lyndon is, not who Lance Corporal Walker is, but Lyndon is. And we ended up kind of growing apart and splitting up.
You guys got to see each other for who you were.
Yeah. And I was like, not like I couldn't give myself, I could barely give my kid attention, let alone take care of myself. I was a mess, and I did the painkillers for a little while. And then I just got so mad at medicine because like when I decided I didn't want to take it anymore, it was like really hard to stop taking it. And that fucked me up and kind of got me mad. And so now I, like Monza said, I don't take any medicine. So I stopped taking that. I don't drink alcohol anymore. Like I'm, other than like cannabis, like completely sober. And it's been like that since my 30th birthday, but I still smoke cannabis. That is a huge help.
Other than smoking it, do you use like a cream or any other ways to use it? Okay.
Yeah, we definitely tinctures.
Yeah.
I'm like even thinking about like there's like a Rick Simpson oil, like it's kind of like a tincture, a cannabis tincture that like people have been using to like calm cancer or cure cancer. Or it's like use that as like a preventative. But I do a lot of not as much anymore, but yeah, like when cannabis kind of went legal and everything was like blowing up and cool, I had like the bombs I'd rub on all my joints when like smoking the CBD and eating the gummies. And now I don't smoke that much. I smoke like I take dabs, maybe like a dab a day. Like it's my glass of wine at night. I like to smoke a little weed, eat a bunch of yogurt, and pass.
Well, you know
out.
what they say, right? A dab a day will keep the doctor away.
It will. I'm gonna have that dab here soon.
During those 12 months, did the idea of maybe youth possibly re-enlisting cross your mind?
Totally did. And actually like longer than that 12 months. Like I think a couple of years like after I got out, I even looked into going back in and almost did, but it was a lot easier to like think to go back than it actually probably would have been to go back. Like, being like I mentioned earlier, like, they always joked about how nasty the civilian world was. So I got out, went to work for this hospital, and I really there was just no camaraderie. It was like by myself in an office all the time. I was just pushing papers. I kind of didn't feel like I belonged anymore. And that was always the coolest thing about it. We were Marines. We were, we belonged to a unit. We served a purpose. And I kind of just felt like I was some fucking secretary at this point working a job. And so I did that for like 2 years. And then I looked into going back in. And I could have. I almost did. I even looked into like possibly going into the Army too. But then like I thought that was like, I thought that'd be like, I played football forever, but now I play ping pong. I didn't want to go like, back like that. But then to see what Jones did, that was really cool. I ended up like wanting to kind of do a little more college. So I kind of thought, well, maybe why don't I like focus more on my studies, get a degree, and then maybe I can look into, going back as an officer. And I don't know, life happened and I ended up like moving. It just never came back up. I did look into it recently. Like I was just talking to someone like, so you can't, the Marine Corps, like they won't take you over like 28 or something, but like there's a couple, like I can go to the Coast Guard still at 45.
Fucking Space Force, dude. I don't know what made me look at, I was curious just to see how many people were in the Space Force. I was talking to, in a previous interview with a Navy vet, and we were talking about the Space Force. And I'm like, dude, how many people are in the Space Force? Like 5,400 people. Yeah.
Really?
And I think he could be like 45.
I wouldn't have thought that.
I guess that's the cutoff period. It's like 45.
How cool would that be, though?
I don't know what you would do.
I wouldn't want to be on one of Trump's derelict, services, but like, I want to guard space. Like, that would be super cool. Right? Space Force. Oh, like, I could
like a lightsaber,
that was, like, main reason
instead of an M16.
Yeah. Careful, I got my photon ray.
Long and prosper.
And what are you like in that point? Like, like the cool thing about the Marine Corps is like we were Marines,
Yeah.
You couldn't be a Navy, you couldn't be an Army, you can't be a Space Forcer. I'm a Space Forcer.
I forget what they call them. I don't know, mouse secures.
Space.
They call them.
Cadet?
I think they call them guardians. Oh, they call them guardians, dude. Guardians. That's right. Yeah.
So they become guardians.
Guardians of the
You
Galaxy.
took the words right out of my mouth.
No. You said when you got out, you were working at a hospital, and what other jobs did you hold through that process of
I
discharge?
did that one for a couple of years. That was like a full-time job, and it was kind of crazy. I had to go to like wearing a suit and a tie. It was a hospital. I was a nursing administrator for Mad River Community Hospital, and it was kind of cool. I would like, it sounded really cool, but really my job was like, I'd go to meetings and take like, notes and do like meeting minutes. And I did payroll for the nursing staff. I just did these little dorky jobs that weren't really like keeping me busy or really fulfilling me. So I did that for a couple of years. And then I stopped that. And then I went to school full time, and I focused on that. So I worked there for a couple of years, and then I went and did college full time. And when I was in college, I worked at a bank and did a couple other like part-time jobs and got through school. And then I went to work for a staffing agency company. I helped people find jobs for 8 years. Express Employment. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
I was a staffing consultant for them for like 7 years, 8 years.
Oh, wow.
I helped people find jobs. It was kind of cool. I liked that. It was like kind of like new joins, like I would bring in a bunch of laborers, hold these little classes, put them all through their new hire paperwork, and I'd pump them out to like soil factories or the lumber mills. And I didn't mind that. But then that's how I found the job I got now. So it's kind of like cherry picking jobs, basically. This one came in, and here I am now.
You said you're working at a warehouse?
I work for a plant fertilizer company. We make like a plant nutrient that's specific for cannabis, house and garden nutrients.
Oh,
it's a really cool story. So like the line house and garden was originally formulated in Holland by the Van de Schwan family. They used to grow award-winning roses and tulips for the Pope, the Queen, and are well known in Holland, and we're like a big deal. And so one of the guys locally here who was an entrepreneur, a total pioneer in the cannabis industry, was out in Amsterdam with some friends and knew about this line and how So the family that kind of like made this line to grow their roses and their tulips, they had this son who was a little more, he was interested in growing more than just flowers. And he kind of tweaked the line and made it more directed towards cannabis. And a guy that was here owned like a hydro shop here locally where I'm at. He was out in Amsterdam, went and met this guy, talked him into like, hey, your products would do great in Humboldt County because, I don't know if you know, but Humboldt County is notorious for quality cannabis production. So for the first couple of years, we were shipping their products over here to the U.S. and then selling them in the U.S. And then we eventually bought the whole line, brought it all the way over here. We even brought their whole production facility, their lab techs. They came over and they taught us how to make it here locally. So it's been a fun ride. And now that cannabis is like legal and the price per pound fell out and it isn't what it was, it's a lot different. But there for like 10, 15 years, it was a rad job. Like, got to go to trade shows. I met Method Man, Redman, Snoop Dogg, like done some cool stuff. And very grateful for the job.
That's cool.
But yeah, it's like really what I do. I sell plant food for pot.
Plant food for pots.
And it's cool. My customers aren't all strung out like, angry people. Like I deal with, hydro shops.
And you said that was house and garden?
Yeah, house and garden nutrients. Yeah. It's a cool gig. I like it a lot. I'll have to hook you guys up with some hoodies.
Yeah, dude, be fucking badass. So would it be safe to say you think you found your niche?
Found my niche, like I'm a people person. I guess I always wasn't, but having to be outspoken in the Marine Corps, like doing what we did at New Joints, where we do those SOI dumps and talking to 100 guys who just fucking been crawling through the mud for 4 months, and trying to get them to fill out W-2s or pay doc, all their, that taught me a lot about being, HR, basically. And then I went from there and did the staffing consultant thing for a long time, HR. All of that was people. Like, when even though I was doing like the HR for Express, like people were my product, I was slanging bodies basically. And now, now I'm here helping, like I run the international sales and I do the production planning, a lot of data entry. Yeah. Like a lot of it is like, I can really think what we did there at the pack is like, kind of molded me into what I was going to do the rest of my life.
That planted a seed to socialize, to start socializing.
Yeah, it's funny because like, when people see me like doing the 10 key, like I'm really quick with the 10 key and they're like, damn, you're fast.
Fucking my cat, baby. Fucking you die.
Yep. Give me an SRB and I'll be just slamming through it, just entering. Knowing those like 6-digit codes, like knew them before. That's crazy, dude. That's awesome.
So we were talking about your jobs leading up to this current job, which sound amazing. And I'm an advocate for, cannabis use and help with medicinal purposes. Cause I know where it's helped me, and including CBD,
it's helped me too.
CBA, CB, whatever else is out there, and being where I've been because of my own stuff, I found peace through it, and I support it as those go through their journey. I know there's a bunch of other stuff that's out there, but I don't know. It's just, I know that it helps. I've seen it bring peace and unity, so it's like,
it totally does.
I don't know. I wish
I
they
love
would
the
just
environment. It's a cool place. Like I get to do like, I used to do a lot more than I'm doing now because the whole industry's kind of like slowed down, but we do a lot of like reggae music festivals where we go and set up a booth and basically like talk to people who are growing their own medical cannabis. They come up, oh, we love your products, man. They pull out their phone and they're showing me their little closet grow, or they got like a greenhouse in their backyard like I do, or, they got their little crop and, they're proud of it and they grow their own premium quality cannabis.
Maybe you could come down to Pomona and show us how to make a greenhouse in the backyard of a brother here.
Yeah, mine's kind of falling apart now. I don't even know if you can
No,
see
I'm
that.
just kidding, Eric. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. I was telling Eric like that.
I'm not selling it. So
And growing in the back.
That where you're at?
yeah, I'm in
Pomona?
Pomona. We moved out here about a year and a half ago. We bought our first house thanks to the VA.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't do it without the VA. Like, there's no way I could come up with like a $40,000, like I wish I'd have bought several years ago. And like, I was a dumbass. I always like, it felt so permanent. Like, I don't know, I want to be. I should have bought a house a long time ago.
Me and Almanza,
So,
we
like,
recorded
shame
an
on me.
episode last year regarding the VA home buying process, and back in the 2000s and the 2010s, so they call it the aughts, realtors would look down on veterans trying to go through the VA process because they didn't want to deal with it. I guess they just looked down on it, or it maybe just required extra paperwork. So that's why I kind of always hesitated. Yeah, it is.
Oh, you know what it is? It's like they can't just sell you anything. Like when I went through this, like I got really lucky. So I went through Veterans United, and they give you like a whole team of people. You get like a loan officer, a loan concierge, or like a customer. There's a 4-man team, like the loan person, the person that does all the communicating. There's like a customer service rep, and then a concierge who's like setting up like moving or lining up the security alarm company or helping me look into like utilities. But they assigned me a realtor as well. And it turned out that the realtor is a gal who's married to a friend of mine's little brother. So it was like, oh shit. Like, when I first met her, we like had that weird, like we looked at 2 houses one day together, and I kept looking at her like, dude, I know this chick. But I didn't want to say it because like I used to be a different dude. I don't know. So I kept like, dude, and the next day she called me and she's like, oh, said the same thing. I've been looking at you. I know you. It's because, I'm married to Chris and you're Shane's friend. And I'm like, oh my God, that's it. So I feel good with her. But so she's certified to work with the VA on home loans. And because she was explaining to me, like, the VA requires that homes be safe, secure, and sound. You can't buy like a fixer-upper and shit. It has to be like, so like regular realtors probably don't want to fuck with it, or didn't want to fuck with it, because they can't just get you through a house real quick and sell it.
Yeah,
like,
there was too
much
too much red tape in their eyes.
Yeah, like that the house now, like they wouldn't sign off on it because of the dry rot on the deck. And like, I mean, it was minor. It was one board of like 50 that like was starting to show like discoloration. And the inspector noted that, and the VA was like, fix that or we won't. It's a no. I told them I'd fix it. And they were like, nope. It has to be safe, secure, and sound before you can even like move in there. I'm like, oh. But like, bless them for doing that. You're just making sure you're not getting a bad deal.
Yeah, and in the end, they're looking out for us. Yeah. They're looking out for the veteran.
Yeah, I could see that. So I guess I got lucky because everything's been kind of like veteran. Like her husband, the realtor's husband, he's a police officer.
Okay.
So she's kind of like service based, like. She's wanted to help veterans and got certified into this program. And I didn't really think about it like that. I guess like that's probably like a lot of realtors probably wouldn't want to deal with it. Like I'd rather just go to some knucklehead who has got some money to spend and got approved for a loan, not deal with a loan company that's making sure it's like tips,
Yeah.
Like everything. That's cool. I'm very grateful for it. Like I couldn't do this by myself. Like, and they've talked me through a lot of stuff. Like when like when you bought your home, like it's not like buying a car, which is pretty confusing. You got like all these inspections and pest inspection, home inspection, appraisals, had my roof looked at. It's got solar panels. So that was like a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Like there's just so much crap, and all of it costs money. And yeah, dude. I haven't even bought a house and I've already spent like $5,000.
Yeah.
It's going into my house, so
Exactly.
But it wasn't bad. It's like the normal stuff, the earnest deposit and all the inspections that you got to pay for.
I wanted to go back really quick because I know, like we talked about, like getting into the home now. After the 4 years after you got out, you went through a lot of changes. There were ups and downs. You had the jobs. You went back to school. There was, years later you said, but through that, what other struggles were you going through aside from like maybe there was a separation or the divorce maybe that happened that you had mentioned, or?
Yeah, so the divorce was crazy, and it kind of like, so I really had a kind of like a hard time finding myself after the Corps. I did that, worked at that hospital for a couple years. I went to school. I had gone through that divorce, and I bounced around a lot. So I moved back to Humboldt after the Corps. I was here for maybe a year and a half. Uh, I was gonna move to Kentucky with Paul Stringer, and him and his wife moved out there, and we were still friends with them. I went through a lot of life lessons with Paul, like around that time, and one of them was I was going to move out to Kentucky and like start my family there. So I kind of sent my family out to Kentucky, and then realized that's when I decided I didn't want to be with my wife anymore. And so I kind of fucked up there. Long story short, we never moved to Kentucky. She came back. We got back together, moved to San Diego. I worked for a fuel company down in San Diego for a couple of years, and then we split up again, and that was the end of us. So I bounced around a lot. Took a long time to really figure out who I was, what I wanted to be, and moved back to Humboldt in 2009. Everything started clicking from there. I met a good girl. I came up here to grow some dope and live in the hills, and thought that I was just going to stack a bunch of money and move back down to San Diego and figure it out. And I met the lady I'm with now, and I've kind of got better, like I didn't want to meet a girl. I going through that divorce, like, on and off again. And like, she was kind of evil and I was kind of bad. And I didn't want a girlfriend at that point. I just wanted to like make money and, cruise, try to surf. And, I met this lit gal, and she changed everything and kind of got me more rooted. And I ended up, here I am 16 years later.
You can share her name. It's okay. You can, if you
Bobby
like.
Joe.
Bobby Joe.
My partner, Bob. I call her Bob. My buddy, her name is Bobby Joe. But it's kind of funny. Like, I call her Bob. My buddy's like, dude, you keep calling your old lady Bob, they're going to think you're gay. That's why I call her my partner Bob. But she's cool. She's Cuban. She's a little crazy. She's 10 years younger than me. So it's kind of, you would never know. She's awesome. Got 3 kids together now, and I'm actually we're not married because, like, I got married when I was in the military, like every other knucklehead, and had such a horrible marriage that, like, I'm afraid of marriage now. But I think we're gonna get married here soon. My kids deserve it and want it, and she does too.
That's awesome to hear.
But yeah, like the whole like marriage thing got changed for me because, like, you see everybody in the military like, bam, going to Vegas, bam, going to Vegas. I got married in Vegas. They literally played like I got married the same day as Paul and his wife. Like, we all drove to Vegas one day. They were getting married, and I was like, fuck it, you guys are getting married. They'll pay us more money. Let's get married, babe. And we ended up like getting married. Like, they went through their ceremony, and as they walked out, me and my old lady walked in, and we got married. And then they played Another One Bites the Dust. And as we were walking out, and they had a picture of like Don Johnson, like the Miami Vice guy, Nash Bridges or whatever. Don Johnson, he had gotten married at that same chapel. That was like their claim to fame. Shit. So yeah, it's kind of funny. So we got married the same day, and him and his old lady are still together and doing wonderful. And we got great, beautiful kids. And me and that Emily gal, who was best friends with Paul's wife, I don't even think she'll talk to me. I don't even think she will ever look at me again in my life now that our kids are over adults and we don't need to talk anymore. That chick hates me.
So we did talk about what you're up to now. So let's go ahead and talk about how did your military service shape your values and perspective on life?
I find that every day, like, as I work for like we talked about a plant manufacturer. There's a warehouse there where they actually make the product, and we got people that work bottling lines, and it shaped me. It's like I feel like I'm a much more disciplined, hardworking individual because of what we went through and the way we were trained and of our experience in the Corps. People now they complain too much, they whine about everything, and I think it's made me a stronger, better person. Not that they don't there's a lot of stuff that people should complain about, but we weren't allowed to complain. We just internalized it, dealt with it with our, comrade, our fellow Marines. We had each other. And I feel like in the role I'm at now, like that helped prepare me for like the real world in a lot of ways. Like being able to, like I can get shit done. Like, and I'm good at it. And a lot of that is the drive that's been instilled, in me from the military. Like I'm good at my job. I'm good at making things happen. I'm good at moving with a sense of urgency and keeping the main thing. And those are all things that were like kind of beaten into us while we were in the Corps. And
Yeah.
I don't think if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be as successful as I am today. I'm not like, I've worked hard and I've gotten somewhere. And a lot of it is because of the work ethic that we learned while we were in the military. Being pogues.
Being pogues. Pogue life.
Can you describe a moment that made you feel proud to serve your country?
A moment that made you proud to serve your country. The first thing that would come to mind was like when you were home on recruiter's assistance after boot camp and you got to wear the dress blues, go to your like high schools, go to your local mall. And I just remember like that was the first time in my life that I really felt like I was noticed. Like I was always the small little kid that just kind of was quiet and blended in. But I didn't need to be loud or obnoxious to be like seen when you were wearing that uniform. And everybody kind of like, it wasn't like, it was a lot of respect. It was a lot of thank you for your service. It was like man in uniform type shit. And I kind of like, it's like the only time in my life where I really felt like I was noticed just for being who I was. And that was kind of awesome. I never got tired of that. Even when I met with my ex-wife's family, like for the first time when I met her mom and dad, they were like so nice to me. Like I was scared I'm meeting these people that like, I don't know how that could go, but they had already had this like, oh, he's in the military. They treated me with like so much respect and nice there. Her dad was in the army during Vietnam. So he was like big on servicemen. And I just remember being like really like proud. It was cool to be a Marine, like telling people what you were when you went, like, oh, what do you do? I'm a Marine. Oh, you're in the Marine Corps. Coming home on leave and people are like, oh, I let people just think what they wanted. You could kill like in 100 ways with your pinky, right? True. Can't talk about it. You can't talk about it.
Classified information.
Yeah. Yeah, that was always kind of cool. Other than that, I don't know. A lot of proud moments in there.
You've highlighted on the military experience has influenced your life. There are lessons that I'm sure you've carried with you. Part of it would be what words of inspiration or hope through this process that you went through the Marine Corps has helped you and influenced you.
I don't know. I feel like in a lot of ways I'm a much, how is it influence? Like I don't know. There's a lot of things that I never change. Like I still to this day, I wake up an early riser. That's always like the Marine Corps. I was never like a morning person until the Marine Corps. And then I like never really had a problem getting up early. I still to this day, I wake up at 4 o'clock every morning. I do my stretches. I do a little exercise. I take a 4-mile walk and I'm home by like 6:30 to shower. I'm like it's like a routine, man. But like a lot of this is like kind of the way I was in the military and it just kind of transitioned into the real world. And, I kind of like, how structured I am because of it. And a lot of that I have to thank the military for. My wife might hate it. My kids probably hate it. But shit's like locked down, like I keep a clean house. I run a tight ship and discipline. And a lot of that came from the military, man. That's those,
You tell them to lock it up? No.
I don't, man.
No,
but, it's kind of funny, like eyeballs, like all my kids when they were little, like I still would like eyeballs and Maylee, my oldest daughter, I still remember I'd yell at her. She wouldn't listen, eyeballs, Maylee, and you'd see her wherever she was, just trying to find me so I could see her eyeballs. I'm right here. So I always use that one. 0 freeze.
What One arm's
Yeah,
distance.
yeah, somebody. Yeah, the one arm's distance to keep it.
So
Uh,
how many kids? How many kids do you have?
5. I had 2 with my ex-wife. They're older now, 23 and 19. It's gonna be 20 in October. I got 3. I got an 8, 11, 10-year-old should be 11 in September, an 8-year-old, and then my boy who will be 4 in July.
Oh boy, yeah.
I'm tired, bro. I'm tired. I don't know. I would have been done a while ago, but like I really with my oldest girl I have here, my 10-year-old. She was awesome. She was actually like a really hard. It was a little tough when she came to the world. My wife had preeclampsia, and we didn't know that. We went in for a doctor's appointment. It was like a month before she was due, and her blood pressure was really high, and the doctors were like, "What the?" So she ended up having like an emergency C-section. So my daughter was born premature and really small, and it was a rough go. And my wife was really sick. She was in the ICU, and they didn't really know what was going on with her and doing tests on her. And my daughter, Maylee, was like 3 days old before Bobby even knew we had a baby and was like even that coherent. And so me and Maylee were really close. I had to finger feed her, and Bobby was kind of going through like having her thyroid removed, all kinds of. She has Graves' disease, and we learned all that right when she gave birth to Maylee. So she had to go through a bunch of medical procedures. So I was kind of left with this like 5-pound little girl, and boy, we ended up like really having a strong bond, and still do. She's a rad kid, and so when Bobby got pregnant again, I was like, I want another girl. Girls are awesome, and they are. But then it was like I got so overwhelmed with pinks and purples. I was like, we got to mix this shit up. I need a boy. So, we tried, and then bam, I got a boy. And then we got our shit tied. We're good. But
Shop's closed.
I was an only child, growing up. Like, you guys probably had a lot of siblings. I had none. I had my neighbors, like my buddy who had sisters. They were like, I was always like the other kid in all my friends' houses. Like, their mom was like always like my other mom. But I always wanted a big family. I always knew like it was boring as hell where being an only child. And so I finally got it. Now I'm like, what the fuck did I do? It's fun, man. I thank the Lord every day for it. It's a blessing.
I know you've highlighted on basically some of the things that you would have done differently when you were in. I don't know if you would like to just encourage others, like what they could possibly do maybe to stay motivated, even if they're going through some sort of struggle within their life.
You're part of something bigger, and you got to remember that. That's like the one thing I didn't think about when I was in that I wish I would have, is that I was so caught up in the now that like, I wasn't thinking about my future. And the military is an excellent way to like, have your first steps into an adult life. Like they're not, I personally wish I would have started from the beginning and took it serious, like from step one, done my MCTs. Is that what those things are called? Yeah, like worked on those and just been a good Marine, because as long as you can just do what you're supposed to do and do your best, the best job you can at it, like you're going to do just fine. And that's all that matters. But I made it harder on myself. And I often wish I didn't, and like to wonder where I'd be if I didn't fuck around as much. But I like to party. I was a fun guy. I still like to think I am. And I think I could have still done a lot of what I did and done well. I just, we were all young, so impressionable. And like we all made bad choices. And unfortunately mine, I paid for. And, fortunately I learned from it that there's consequences for everything you do in life. And I paid the consequence. I learned from it. And I was lucky enough to be able to start over and finish out and just take it serious, man. It's the beginning of your life, and it could be really a great thing for you. Like I really wish everybody had to do at least like 2 years. It should be like a mandatory. I think our world would be a better place. Kind of.
Do you have any words for Marine Corps veterans in the civilian field?
a VA is out there. I don't think a lot of people know about it or like realize it is as helpful as it is. You know, like I was really, when I kind of decided last year that I was going to take myself serious and start working, you know, looking at taking care of my health, mental and physical, like I reaching out to the VA was ginormous for me. Like I feel like welcomed with open arms, and like the things I've done like in the last year just to like take care of Lyndon have been huge, and it's all been like through the VA's help. Like I get headaches, they sent me down to San Francisco, and I went through like a day of like CT scans and meeting you know, brain doctors. I've gone through sleep studies. I've gone through acupuncture. I went through a nutritionist to like, because I was losing weight, and a lot of it was because I was depressed. And you know, like I learned all this through the VA and like various different, you know, resources that they provided me. And I don't think everybody knows that. Like there's a lot of, they're there to help us, and most people should take more advantage of it.
They should.
Yeah,
Really,
thanks for sharing that.
I didn't
Thanks for
know
sharing
it
that.
really. Like Rangel and like Brooks were the ones that really like pointed me in that direction. Like Brooks, the guy's, he's a skater. You know, like he was the one that was like, you know, you push him, like you got to just reach out to him, and like if they don't call you, you got to follow up. And
Yeah.
I did, and now it's like I feel valued, I feel important, I feel like they take me serious, they listen to me, and I feel like they've helped me. Like I'm trying to quit smoking like cigarettes. They like meet me once a week, they sent me patches, lozenges once a week. I'm talking with a gal about how I'm doing with it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, oh, you're hurt and you got pain, here we're gonna put you in physical therapy. No, they gave me like acupuncture. I meet a physical therapist every other week. I'm in like, it's kind of like AA for people with pain. Like I feel like every Wednesday I meet with this group. There's like 12 of us in this class with a couple doctors, and we're learning about how to manage life with chronic pain. And there's a lot of help out there if you want it. And the VA is a wonderful resource. And there's so much cool shit there. That's my 2 cents. They do make you do a lot of appointments, but like it's because they care.
Yeah,
And they want you to like get better. You know, they don't want you to be like forever this way. They want you to find ways to either adapt and overcome, or, you know, if you can beat it, beat it. Like, I don't know. I didn't know it was like that was there until like about a year ago, and now I'm stoked. I feel like I have people who care about me and a team of very intelligent people I can call if I got a question.
Thank you for just being open and being
For
honest
real.
with us. We really do appreciate that.
I've had so much fun.
Lance Corporal Lyndon Walker's story is one of darkness and light. A Marine who faced the fire, stumbled through the shadows, and still found his way back. His redemption is a reminder that no matter how far we fall, there's always a path forward. Thank you, Lyndon, for your courage and your honesty. Until next time, hold the line, lift each other up, and as always, stay the course. And thank you for listening to the Chat 62 podcast. Semper Fi.
Hoorah.
Hoorah.
Hoorah, much love, guys.
And with that, we wrap up not just Lyndon Walker's story, but season 2 of Chat 62. A heartfelt thank you to this season's guests, Paul Stringer, Henry Rodriguez, Gunny Moon, Danny Mercy, and Lyndon Walker. Your stories, your honesty, and your courage have made this season what it is: raw, real, and unforgettable. To our listeners, thank you for riding with us. Every download, every message, every share, it means the world. Stay tuned. Season 3 of Chat 62 drops this fall. New voices, new stories, same mission. Never forget that your story matters. Until then, stay the course. Semper Fi.
Brothers and sisters at arms, are you struggling with your mental health? You are not alone. There is help available. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is there for you. Call or text 988 to connect with a trained crisis counselor 24/7. Do not hesitate to reach out for support. You are strong. You are loved. Semper Fi.
Shut it down.